My God, what just happened? This sucks. Okay. If you find this thing, I'm going over to try and grab people that just lost this because YouTube screwed me again. Thank you so much, YouTube. Thank you so much. Ah, can't even add comments. Oh well, they'll have to see it later. So the show must go on. Maybe it's a sign that I should oh, I got one person. That's cool. I don't know who you are, but thanks for being here. Hey, the chat works now. You can use the chat, so that's cool. Thank you, YouTube, for finally fixing that. Why don't you give a shout out who your name is while we wait for maybe one or two other people to show up for like 2 minutes. Or if you leave, then I'll just talk. That's fine too. Seriously, YouTube, why are you doing this to me? Maybe we could get a little music going before thanks, Bob. And maybe I can do that too. I'll try and get some people over there because geez, technology. Got to drop a bomb in SC430 mods. Let's see. Could you guys give me a little help and give me a link down in the chat that I can post over there because I can't find it right. Oh, okay, here it is. Never mind. I'm good. Put it over here. Continued here. Okay, post. Then I'm going to share this in a couple of other groups just to get this thing going. See a SC430 club. All right, there's one. Why are you taking forever to post? Okay, there's one. Group. Let's see. SC430 Enthusiast Club. There's another one. Only got about 3 more to go. Uh, oh, good enough. Okay, let's get back to it. Everybody else can see it later if they missed it. Whatever. Let me pull up my little thingy. So yeah, by selling the business, I can get back to doing what I love to do. I love to make car parts, and I could do it anywhere in the world. So I could literally live in the Philippines and design car parts from there and bounce back and forth between the Philippines and the US, and I could bounce over to China with my suppliers who I haven't laid eyes on in person. I could have more inspiration for more products. So whoever was investing to take over, they're basically taking all of the burden off of me for fulfilling orders, ideally for customer support, except for things that are really technical. Okay, I'll help you with that. Ideally, you'd be able to, you know, take over that eventually too, because as new products come out that I would feed you, then, I'll just give you a rundown. Okay, help them troubleshoot it with this, because I can do that as an electronics technician. So we got spectators, $100 entry fee. Let me pull up SC430 mods .com page. There's two things live right now. There's the Spectator event. So this is the kind of thing it'll be for spectators, except it'll be in Zoom instead of on YouTube Live, which is obviously unreliable. Figured that out the hard way today. But yeah, it's going to be a big Zoom meeting, and everybody that's a spectator that paid $100 to get in, they're going to watch the inner workings of, high level, not detailed, just like surface. Okay, this is what I'm offering, and this is how the business works. And I'll take you on a tour around the garage and show you how I fulfill orders. And I'll be answering some basic investor questions. The investors are going to be charged, well, we'll say more. Their tickets are $1,000, which might seem steep to you, but I'll tell you what, this business is worth well north of the lowest number of six figures. So if they can't pay $1,000, they're not qualified. Everybody that has enough liquid assets of at least 150,000 uh, is a good candidate. I am not trying to get the highest price. It's not my passion to just cash out. That's absolutely not what I want to do. I want to continue to make parts. So I can continue to make more parts than running a business. I actually never wanted to run a business. It was just necessary to sell the parts. And in the beginning, it makes you more money. But now it has enough growth every single year, double digit growth all the way up till today. So, it is very sustainable. I mean, I already hinted to the fact that my job makes me less money than that job. And I work with engineers that make significantly more than me. This is like Silicon Valley of Washington stuff, Kirkland, Redmond area. So if you know Redmond, Microsoft's in Redmond. I don't work for Microsoft, but ironically, the founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, which is somewhat debatable, but I'm not going to hold it against him because who I affectionately call Billy Bob literally funded my ability to get this started. So he's got a special place in my heart, even as a billionaire that, you might like a little bit regret that, okay, he's got this money and I don't. I can't say for sure what his character is, but from what I've seen, he's a cool dude. He is one of the cooler dudes that is filthy rich because he has carried the place that I've worked for longer than most investors would have. Like, we would be bankrupt without him. And we have an extremely good culture. We still have free food, um, great people to work with, and I couldn't have done it without him. So thank you, Bill Gates, for giving me the opportunity to make enough headroom in my money that I could pursue a passion that became my own thing. So moving on from that, yeah, so back to the investor thing. They need to have at least 150,000 in liquid assets. So that could be obviously cash. It could be HELOC, home equity line of credit that they could borrow against their house. It could be retirement funds. I don't care. As long as it's legal and as long as you can prove it, then that's good enough. The investors are not getting screened for the first round, but their ticket buys them two rounds, uh, a relatively public one and a private one as a follow up. But as a pre qualifier, they have to sign an NDA. They have to show like the ability to be able to part with at least 150,000, so that that they're serious, that they would be able to give me enough of a buffer to leave my current position without worrying about money in the short term, and that beyond that, then they wouldn't be in a bad financial position themselves because they're literally not going to inherit any debt. It is a zero debt business. It's not literally a zero debt business, but when it's sold off, it's going to be zero debts to them because I'm carrying anything that is debt on myself because it's really not that much. relatively. Okay, so let's see. So when it gets to the second stage, well, okay, back to the spectator stage. So the spectator stage, where all of you and you can win prizes and stuff. Ooh, you want to take a little break and see some prizes? Okay, you might have seen some of them. How about an oil filter? You want an oil filter? No, not interesting enough. Yeah, that sucks. Okay, let's try harder. How about a nav kit conversion for free? Want that? That's cool. You know, one of my idols that I really enjoy, that I'm super sad he's dead. I mean, we can kind of guess why he's dead. It might have something to do with white powder, but Billy Mays. But wait, there's more. Big brake kit adapters. You can put LS460 brakes on your SC430. I bought this a long time ago to do it to my own car. I pivoted and didn't follow up on that. Whole kit, you can have it. Oh, wait, there's more. Beats headphones. But wait, there's more. Pay attention to me, camera. I'm over here. Yeah, my face is over here. Stop looking at my body. Thank you. 220-volt adapter in case you have an electric car. Fully ready to go. Also does 110. But wait, there's more. Anybody need a welder? 220-volt welder? I used to work on Jeeps. I never got around to learning to weld. This thing is like new. I've got magnets, I've got welding wire, I got the cape, I got the hood. Where is that thing? It's really cool. Here it is. Oh, it's dusty. Auto darkening helmet. But wait, there's more. One more thing. Eaton M112 supercharger. You want forced induction? Figure it out yourself. You got to shave down this part completely flat. You got to plumb some things, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than the other options out there, which go anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. You could get it done for uh, well under three, depending on how much of the work you're doing yourself. And my good friend Brandon Elsner from Quantum Auto, uh, he can tune it for you. So, and you definitely need it tuned, because if you just run that thing straight off of the factory tune, that is not going to be a good idea. I swear it will not. But if you want to see how that works, to take a SVT Cobra supercharger from like early 2000s Mustangs, then you can look up a video that LS430 Eaton M112. If you put that into YouTube, that should be good enough. You'll find it. So, yeah, all those prizes are on the table, and I have very low thresholds for it. Like the headphones, if I have at least 10 people, they're going. If I have, let me, let me make sure I'm not talking out of my ass here. Okay. Because I already put some numbers and I don't want to, I don't want to say the wrong numbers. Give me a second. There we go. Okay. Like new welder, minimum 20, all 6 filters, no matter what. Even if there was 5 people, I'll give 6 away. I don't care. SC430 big brake kit, at least 35 people. M112 supercharger, at least 50. I'm not asking a lot of people. And if the investor potential people are watching, no, they're not going to be a problem, because every spectator is going to be muted and their video is going to be shut off. So they're just going to be in the background seeing some cool stuff, like some inner workings of a business and how, you get a high level overview pitch to investors. And I swear I will not be in a suit and tie. It'll be just like this, because the kind of investor I'm looking for is, you know, somebody that I would actually enjoy working with, because I'm not trying to have another job. You know, if you're stiff, good on you. You're probably successful and have money for a reason that works, but that's not my personality. My personality is very casual, very laid back, but very professional when it comes to making money. Like, I'm only professional in the ways that it makes sense. Otherwise, I like to be unfiltered. I like to be myself, and I absolutely detest, the whole HR vibe. We'll say, you know, I want to talk the way I want to talk. I want to say the things I want to say, and I want to interact the way I want to interact, respectfully. I'm not telling you what to do. You don't tell me what to do. We all respect each other. We're making money. Ideally, it would be a long-term relationship where we're collaborating, where I'm feeding you additional product ideas. After you've paid for the business, then I'm not pulling any more money out of the business and it's all yours. And how I make money in the future is first right of refusal, FROR. So I bring new product ideas to you and say, okay, if you want to follow through on this idea, I will figure out how to get it to market for you, and I will collect a 10% profit, not gross. 10% of the profit in perpetuity for as long as you sell it. The other 90% is all yours. So that's how you continue to make money, and the business does not decline. So you don't actually need to know how to make products. If you do, good on you. But you can just wait for me to just feed you things. And when we run out of things with the SC430, then we'll move on to other platforms, and that's cool too. You know, you can ride me as a cash cow. Like, that's actually what I want you to do. I want somebody to piggyback off of my ideas and rake all the money in, but I want them to give me enough financial freedom to be able to pursue that. Like, I don't want to think about, do I have enough money to get into a plane to go to China? I just want to get my ticket and go to China because I need to go talk to somebody in China about making another product. That's the life for me. I don't care how much money I have in the bank account. If I had $100, but I have the freedom to do that, why do I care? So, that's the deal. So where it goes for the second thing, which is a limited number of slots, it's not an unlimited number of slots. Let's see. Let's pull up like some criteria that would make a good candidate for that investor. Okay, winning bid criteria enables me to quit my day job, obviously. So for the next 6 months, what would happen is I would have a 51% stake. So I have controlling interest still. You immediately gain a 49% stake, but we share 50% of the profit, assuming you didn't immediately cash me out. If you immediately cashed me out, you get 100% of the profits during the entire 6 months. I would not suggest that, and I'll go over why. This is why it doesn't matter about the highest bid. If you have 150, that's good enough. Because you can make, you can pay off the rest between our profit sharing. And once that agreed upon final sale number is closed, all the money's yours for the existing products at the time that we closed on, working together. But the 6 month thing is obviously I've got to train you up. You don't know what you're doing. And if you're the kind of guy that like, I can handle it and I don't need your help, you're not the person I want to work with at all. Like, I would listen to your ideas on how to grow things further, absolutely. But if you're just shut down, like I know what I'm talking about and you don't, then don't buy the ticket. You'll be wasting your money. You will not get chosen. And you cannot just like buy your way to the top, like, oh, I'll give you $2 million, which I don't actually expect somebody to do. But if they offered it, I'd be like, no, this is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep this in the SC430 community. We don't have support. So moving on. Remaining balance can be paid. Yeah, I already covered that. Existing customers passionate about the SC430 and car mods in general for future platforms, highly preferred. Full-time interest without divided loyalty to other jobs or business ventures, preferred. Geolocation closest to Orlando, Florida, preferred but not required. I mean, you could even be in Britain, I don't care, but if you can get in a plane and you can come over here because you have the freedom to do so, that's cool. All right, I can work with that. But of course, people that are nearest to Orlando, that would be a plus because that's where I'm going to be fulfilling orders for out of for the near future. And so that makes a conflict where you think, okay, well, if you're fulfilling orders but you're selling out the business, how does that work? Okay, my sister, back to my sister Alicia that I'm moving in with for half of what I pay in rent here. Well, not rent, for my mortgage with escrow. Um, like I'm trying to immediately make her my 3PL. 3PL is third party logistics. Like she could use some extra cash right now. She's an extremely smart person. She knows how to run her own business, but she hit a rut and she needs to get back out there and just, skyrocket again like she will, like my brother already did. She was the first one to make it big time, but then she took a dip and now she's on the rise again. So for as long as she's interested in being 3PL and making a cut right off the top for fulfilling orders, great, because that's a lot of stress off of me. So where that works with the investor has the choice. Okay, I want to fulfill it myself and keep more of the money. Okay, cool. You know, we'll transition away from Alicia in the span of a month. Someday down the line, Alicia's guaranteed she's going to say, I don't want to do this anymore. Cool. Okay. Investor, you got a month that she doesn't want to do this anymore. We got to transition to something else. So easy. Solved. Okay, willingness to take the business seriously with high motivation and big business casual, relaxed relationship. Already covered that. Willingness to be coachable, already covered that. Investors looking to flip the sale for short-term profit will be excluded. If I sniff that off of you, if you're trying to fold it into a public company, if you're just trying to turn it into a cash cow to milk people for every possible dollar that they're worth, because I could charge more. I could literally charge more. I do not have competition. This is not a Jeep. Like, and I've built a very, very loyal customer following. So it's a good place to be, honestly. And I thank each and every one of you for that. Okay, so phase three. So sometime between that time, that 6 months, possibly a little sooner, if we're really, really clicking, then I pass off the remaining 51% to you because it's like, okay, you're going to treat the community well. And before I do that, I'm actually going to put a poll on the sc430mods.com Facebook page. And I need to see at least 80% approval in the way that things have been running for the last 6 months. If not, then we move on to, you know, the less good part. But let's say success for now. Okay. How does this work? I remain I remain responsible during transition for all business responsibilities. Those responsibilities slowly or quickly, depending on how fast you are, get passed off to you. And then at that time that you're ready to take it all on, even if that's before 6 months, if you're ready, you're ready. All the better for me. Uh so the next phase, okay, the 6 month evaluation, you know, covered the investor part. Okay, so I'm gonna evaluate the following, for example: brand integrity, your ability to keep up on orders, logistics, your reliability, high customer satisfaction, the way you treat people. I expect a lot. I'm not going to just pass it off to somebody that's going to treat customers like sh. It's not going to happen. I don't care how much money you offer me. I don't need it. I can work with a lot less and still be successful. I don't need that. I'm not going to go begging Chase or whoever because the first time that I want to do is somebody that actually owns an SC430. If I completely strike out in that regard, I'll widen the net to other investors because I guarantee you this is a big opportunity for the people that know what they're talking about. Like y- you will be shocked at the numbers. Anyways, okay, so let's say yay, success. What happens? I already said first right of refusal and perpetuity as long as we're getting along. My new product ideas gets pitched to you. My product ideas for other car platforms, which if we get along really well, we'll work together on figuring out the next car platform. It won't be a unilateral decision. Um, I doubt I'll ever be truly done with the SC430 until there's people that just do not care about it. Because you guys are the perfect lab rats. You're very loyal. You know, if I screw up, that I'm going to make it right. I'll give you your money back. It doesn't matter. And I'll make it better until it works. So, because you treat me well, then I can treat you well. And one thing that's kind of interesting about business, if you've ever heard don't give the customer their money back after you get it. That is absolutely stupid as hell advice for a business that has loyalty involved in it. You are not supposed to do that if you want long-term customers. I have no problem throwing people money back because I value my name more than I value money and my brand. My brand is associated with my name, so I will definitely trade money all day for my name. My name stays high no matter what, whether I make a lot or make a little. And if I make too little, then I'll just stop doing it and it won't be a business anymore. That's easy. It's simple logic. So let's see. I continue to receive profit split until the threshold for the actual negotiated cost of the business is fully met. All existing products from the date of 49% ownership become yours forever without additional royalties. All tangible assets directly related to the business, including pending trademark, fully owned by investor. You own it all. Like, if I don't need it to make parts for you, then it's yours. Uh, so let's talk about a failure scenario and what that would involve. Um, First of all, best effort, third party neutral arbitration paid for at my expense, by the way, as a last resort, good faith effort to resolve differences. If we're still not able to work it out, investor is not required to fund remaining pledge beyond the initial negotiated down payment that allowed me to quit my job. And that is not refundable because the investor retains IP for a turnkey business creation with high margins, which doesn't even necessarily have to do anything with this car company. You're going to know a lot of information on how to make a really profitable business, regardless of whether it's car parts or not. Shared profits that you made while we had our 50-50 split during our initial collaboration, all that money stays on you. And then I continue to run the business and I try to sell it again because I really, really don't want to run a business. I just want to design and enjoy my life. Um, let's see. Geographic, we already covered that, obviously the locality enables direct shadowing, real-time onboarding, smoother operational transition. And it's not a one-way street. Of course, I would fly out to see you even if you were out of country. As long as you're willing to fly out to me to learn, because you're going to have to be close to me for quite a while to really know how things work, unless you're just like really, really good at business and you're just picking it up quick and you're like, okay, I'm done after a week. Cool. If you're done after a week and I know you're done, then that's fine with me. So legal, technical, okay. When we get to the private thing that's beyond the public thing where there was prizes, that's closed door meeting relatively on Zoom or possibly even in person, which hint, if you're willing to meet me in person for the second meeting at my house, that's going to reflect better on your seriousness about taking the business seriously that you would fly out here instead of being on a Zoom meeting. If you can't, or you just don't want to, sure, you can be on the Zoom meeting, but know that you're now tier two because other people have stepped up. So, you know, decide how you want to do that. Buyer contract includes IP breach forfeiture. So that would be like well, if you don't know what that means, you don't need to know what that means. Okay. Extendable transition beyond uh by mutual consent. So it is not a literal hard number that if it took you 8 months to get up to seed nine, for example, like we can agree to extend the trial run. That's fine with me. I'm not trying to just like, oh, you failed and just take my business back. I really don't want my business back. I already told you what I want. Buyer must preserve system fidelity, legal transfer only of those aligned in value and execution. So that's basically it. What's happening July 19th is the day of the public Zoom meeting. That's what you can buy tickets for $100 as a spectator. As I previously said, you will be muted and your video will be shut off. You're only an observer. The investors, no matter if there's one or more, which there's a finite number of slots, then they're the only ones that get to directly interact during the main event. When the main event is done, then everybody else's goes on. Everybody else gets to talk and chat and whatever. And then we start throwing out prizes like Billy Mays. So that's the way that works. For the investor aspect of things, then we will all agree on, a date in the future. When you bought an investor ticket, you didn't actually get a Zoom link. Nobody actually gets a Zoom link right away right now because it's too far in the future and it's going to be a super big headache to make individual Zoom links that are only one-time use so that people can't just jump on it for free. Like, don't think you can give it out to your friends because if you give it out to your friend and your friend clicks on it before you do, he's the only one that's going to get to see it, and then you're SOL. And if you try and buy another one during the meeting, they're not available anymore. They're only going to be available until about the week before July 12th. And by July 12th, you'll have your link. So that's what you bought with your $100. On the $1,000 side, same thing. You as part of that $1,000 got my direct personal phone number, and I asked you to text me, so that I can whitelist you on my phone so that if you want to call me, then you can talk to me and I won't ignore you as long as I'm not sleeping or like working my salary job or something, but I will definitely call you back. Then, behind that second meeting where it's private, where you've signed the NDA, where you've proven that you actually have the ability to fund the business, then the books are wide open. Questions are wide open. And you could even learn enough stuff at that point that you'd have enough of an idea to be able to start your own business. And as long as you're not, directly competing against me with with things that are in writing, then take and run with it. I don't care. If you just want to pay $1,000 to just leech off of information, I mean, good, but keep in mind, if you do that, you still have to prove that you had enough money to come to the table to decide whether wanted to be a part of the choices or not. So you can't just be like, okay, I have $1,000, but I have nothing else. No, that's not going to work. You're not going to get into the second meeting, and you're not going to get a refund either. So don't do that. That's yeah, that's basically it. Let's go over to the chats, and then when the chats die down, there's only 11 people in here right now, then I'm going to be done. Let's see. My voice is getting a little tired anyway. Already covered Bob. Lake Cruz. Just got my throttle controller in love. Thanks, Calvin. Thank you, Beck. Oh, let me hit on Keon Park, just in case he ever watches this. Keon, yeah, seriously. I am working on your nav kit conversion. I'm going to give you an extra $100, even beyond the $130 that I've given you. 'Cause like I've said, my name is worth more to me than money. So see, what were we down to now? 650 minus 30, that's 620, 520. So yours is going to be 420 bucks if you're willing to wait for it. Otherwise, you can have all your money back, and that's fine too. Let's see. JT Narcissus, thank you for all your hard work. I agree. You probably have tons of idea. I appreciate that you believe in me. Thank you very much. Bang Average. Okay, yeah, that's a real name. When will you have throttle controllers available again? Uh, Sorry if this has been asked. Well, it hasn't been asked here. Actually, probably, believe it or not, somewhere back here, I have more throttle controllers, and that's how far behind I am. I knew I was out of throttle controllers a couple days ago, and like, truly, I did not care. Like, I'm too busy. I did not care. Okay, don't forget, I'll put it down in the chat. The code will be slow delivery, 10% off until further notice. It's not active right now, but as soon as I get off this live chat, I'm gonna go activate it. So within like maybe an hour, yeah, we'll get that done. Lake Cruz says, I'd love to see a wing or spoiler styled after the Supra be developed. You know, that would be kind of cool. So let me show you how my engineering mind works with that, and then you could even run with it if you wanted to, because I'm that's so buried deep in my priority list. But I mean, I agree with you. That'd be a lot of fun. It'd have to be very tasteful, and it would I would stick a lot of things on that car and shape things and cut things until I thought, yeah, that belongs. For example, it would not be sharp. It cannot be sharp on that car because that car is not sharp. It's got smooth flowing lines. So you put something sharp on that car, it's going to look really, really stupid, in my opinion. And I only do things in my opinion. You know how I come up with ideas for the business? I make things that I want on my own car and then I sell them. So if I put this on myself that if I can't make it mass produced for everybody, then I stop working on it and I work on something else that I can bring to market. And that does two things. It funds my passion because then I get to do whatever the hell I want. And I get to be beneficial to you, which feeds me more money, which allows me to do what I want. When then I can make another product, which feeds you more money. You get it. Okay. So with that spoiler, you know, off the top where you're saying Supra, Supra is a very smooth, clean line car. You know, it's very elegant. It's not sharp like you know, Lamborghini Aventador or something like that with all the jagged lines. I agree. Like a swooping kind of deal that is yeah, that's a high candidate. So one other big problem you're going to run into with that, then it's going to add extra weight. And there's a finite amount of weight where it's going to be a big problem for hardtop convertible. It's not as big of a deal because if it's on the back, then with the pivot point, you know, toward the window, that's where you would not want to put weight. So, you know, if you have your arm out like this and this is the trunk going like this, do you care about somebody putting weight on your arm here? Or do you care about somebody putting weight on your arm there? You know, so it will need stronger struts, maybe some additional mechanical assistance, but it can't interfere with the way the car opens. You know, the trunk opens this way, the trunk opens that way. So all that stuff's got to be considered. It's not the easiest mechanical solution in the world. You know, there's physics involved, there's electrical involved. Well, not in this case. Well, there might be because you might need struts to go up and down that are actuators. I don't know. I've thought about it. Um, but there's a balance between how much are people willing to pay for it and how complicated is it going to be to install. Lots of things in play. Uh, are you working on some shift knobs? Glad you asked. See if I can find them. I don't know if I can find them at the moment. I'll tell you what, if you buy the ticket to that $100 event, you can see two shift knobs that I was working on bringing out for sale. Truth be told, not every product is like unique to me. Um, Example, the door projectors. I did not design this in the least myself. I'm even giving you a little bit of a thing, okay? Like I modified these to start out um when they were garbage because they would make this big ass logo on the ground. And when they would go in there, then part of the circle with there was like a Lexus logo and there was a circle that went around the outside. Part of that logo would get cut off the circle. It would look really stupid. It would cut into the door, and there was no way to fix that, by sticking it in there until I literally took them apart by hand and tweaked them so that they belonged in our car. And that's how those got started. And now, I've worked with suppliers long enough that I only buy the absolute best. So, it's always been my goal to just have the top end of the stuff that's still affordable that people would actually buy the shit. So, okay, I dropped my first potty mouth word. My bad. Um, so it's like the old one, it had a lens in it that was like if you ever seen them before that they fade. The first ones I sold, they could fade after 6 months to a year, depending on how much you left your door open. But I'd never made that your problem. I had an 18-month warranty at the time to cover them. So it didn't matter if they burnt out, I'd just send you a new one because then you were loyal. So it didn't matter if I lost some money. Not all of them are going to die. You know, 95% plus, all good. If 5% of them are trash and you need warranty support, and they're like, boom, now it becomes 100, except for the pain point of you had to take the old one out and stick the new one in. Good enough. Now they have glass inserts, which I wanted in the first damn place. So glass ones will not have that problem. So these are way better. They look a lot better. Instead of being like a circular logo, they're a very crisp white crystal. So much better. Oh, bang average. Satoshi. I know Satoshi. Are you the Satoshi that has worked on that quarter window mod over in Japan? I'm gonna wait for that answer. I'm hoping you are. Like, 'cause if you are, you're the one that beat me to the market. Actually really grates on me because I had the idea before you brought it to market, and I respect you for that. I don't I don't exclude you. You can advertise your products on my Facebook page. Uh, Literal competitors if they wanted to, except for like commercial ones. Like I wouldn't let Grom do it, for example, but I would let you, the small business owner, just trying to make a buck. Like, how weak would I be to suppress you if I can't compete? If I can't compete, I'm just going to stay out of your lane because that's cornered, and I'll just move on to something else. I don't need to like drive somebody out of business for my ego or whatever. Like, okay, you're not that one. Well, that's too bad. I would have liked to have met you. Um, I can tell you that mine will be better than his, and it's not going to be much of any more money. It might even be cheaper. And it's not because I'm trying to crush him, it's because I just know what I'm doing. So he better move on from the design where he's like wrapped it up in bubble wrap and stuff. Like I get it. I was there on the Bluetooth. Um there was like 2-pound boat expanding foam that I had put these parts together, and then I'd wrapped it with PVC, and it was kind of ugly, and but it worked, and no one cared because it was behind the dash. And yours is ugly, but it's invisible, so it does not matter. It only matters if the customer sees it. But it's psychologically, it's not confidence inspiring if it's ugly. So, there is that aspect to it. What about remote start and top open close? Well, I have covered the top open close to some degree. Let's talk about this one for a second. Um, this is Auto Top Kit, and it takes away the biggest pain point where you got to hold the button for 30 to 45 seconds, depending on how much of a battery charge you have, whether or not your car's running. And there's a lot of variable in how long it takes to open or close the top from end to end. It could be anywhere from about 30 to 45 seconds. So with this one, I'm having it hold the button down for a long time, long enough that even if you had a crappy battery and your car wasn't running, but it was still able to complete the cycle without being so dead that you wouldn't be able to start your car, it should be able to get the job done. And the reason I did that instead of a sensing thing like when is it done is because if I did that, then the complication of installing it would be higher and it would be more expensive and it would have taken longer to bring to market. I've gotten these down to the point where instead of 150, they're going to be 99 because I don't have to do it myself anymore. I can mass produce them, so I'm lowering the price. That's Let me make a running tally of these things I'm supposed to do after I get off of this thingy. Okay, another sticky note. Okay, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to activate slow delivery. Uh $99 auto top kit. We're doing retro. We're gonna go back to $99 throttle controller. You guys would pay more for it. I don't care. Like my margins are good enough, it's fine. Let's go old school. My gift back to you. That was the original price, and we're going back to it. I actually increased it to $105 because psychologically, all right, I'm gonna tip my hand to something that you can take it to the bank to if you want to start your own business. Okay. In the beginning, I did my best to charge people exactly how much it costs to ship things. And so my benchmark was now I live in 98513, and I would look on the post office's website for different weight classes. And there are different weight classes where after you pass the threshold it becomes more expensive, either by actual weight or dimensional weight. So dimensional weight is the size of the product and actual weight is obvious. So if you have an enormous package that weighs nothing, then obviously they're not going to charge you as much as 4 ounces. They're going to charge you more because it took up a lot of room in their vehicle. Whereas on the other way around, if it's very heavy, then it costs more to deliver because you're using up their gas. Then that puts more wear and tear on their vehicle and it's more expensive. Then they're going to charge you more for that reason. Anyways, so the secret is, I would have my 98513 to 3332 to which is some place in Florida. I don't even care where. But it was like a really far distance apart. It was going to be like the most expensive contrast across the country. And at the time it was somewhere around the range of like $4.50 for a basic 4 ounce package. So that's what I charged every single customer. If they were in that weight class for their total product weight, they would get charged $4.50, as little as I could possibly charge and at least break even. But then I realized psychology and reevaluated. Okay. Think about this. Okay. You could have been paying $4.50. So it used to be $99. So let's do, what is that going to be? 103.50, something like that. Okay, 99 plus 450. Yeah, 103.50. Um, that's what you used to pay for the throttle controller. Now you pay 105 with free shipping. So you pay more. So I pocket more. And then, okay, well, I don't pocket that much more. That's in that one's 7 ounces, so that belongs in the 8 ounce category. So that's more like 475 my cost, 480, 490, somewhere in there. But I still make more. But you're like, free shipping. So now you're buying my stuff because you got free shipping. You know what else happens? Okay, let's say you add this guy on top of it, which you also get free shipping. My shipping costs are baked into every single item as if you're only buying one item. So now every item became more expensive because it has free shipping. You might buy one item. Now you bought two items. That saved me money. Now I get a pocket more and you got free shipping. That's the secret. Everybody wants free shipping. They want that more than the lowest price because, you know, like shiny object, free shipping. If it worked for Amazon, it was going to work for me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do the best things at Amazon without treating people like garbage. And that's the way I'm going to run my business. I'm going to offer priority mail shipping for a very low cost. And I'm going to offer free shipping like they do without having to have a subscription. So, you just glean the best things from big players and small players. And just, it was scary at first. It's like, if you wanted to return something within 30 days, I eat that cost too. So I ate the cost of the product going to you. I ate the cost of getting it back to you. It cost me time because you contacted me. I got to give you a free return label. I got to give you your money back. And oh yeah, because I gave you your money back, now I ate another 3% off of the gross sale price, plus a little bit of extra on top of that too, because of transaction fees that do not get refunded to me. So 3% loss plus 50 cents transaction fee plus um, shipping to you, shipping back to me. All that stuff was a loss to me. And I did the numbers on that. It was kind of scary, but you know, most customers, if you have good products, they're not going to return it. I don't know, let's say 2%, maybe 3% maximum. I think it's well under 3%. People are like, hey, I want a refund. Okay, cool. Here's your refund. Here's your return label. Give me my stuff. When it arrives at my place, then here's your refund. I even have a shelf back there of products that I have not opened in years, but like I just took their word for it that they returned something, and like I could tell the difference pretty quickly on weight without opening the product. And yes, somebody might have ripped me off in there, but I have had one person do some dirty dog stuff where they literally ripped me off, and that pissed me off. But one time, just one time, you're a good community. You don't rip me off. You respect me. So, I treat that casually. Like, uh, here's a return that's just sitting on my desk. This is an overseas return. What does it say? Car door lights pair. Where did it come from? I think it came from Switzerland. I don't care. It's not worth my time. I don't have time for this. So, yeah, add some throttle controllers to the website, please. Yes, thank you. I will look and see if I have more throttle controllers. So I should. And if I don't, I need to get a hold of my supplier to get them out ASAP. It's more expensive than it used to be for my end, by the way, because I used to take advantage of that de minimis system where, China got to use the post office for the last mile. They got to get tariffs to work for free. There was no tariffs on packages $800 or less. It's an Obama rule that it was kind of cool for the rest of us. It made sense, but people figured out how to use it as a loophole. Well, it turns out an entire country learned how to use it as a loophole. And it used to work like this. As long as your package was under 800 bucks, then you would get charged no tax, no duties. It would go straight to your door. The idea was somebody travels overseas, they bring back under $800 worth of stuff. You shouldn't be taxed on it for being a tourist. That's like noble and cool. It was like one of those rare times where the government was not screwing people. So that was nice. Regardless of politics, you can appreciate that about Obama. But then it got retired later with Biden, um, and it got implemented as done with Trump. So it transcends politics. It was coming to an end. I used to use it at like AliExpress's entire business model and Wix, Temu, all worked off of that idea. Under $800. So they would take massive amounts of products, consolidate them into one air delivery. Then they would take that air delivery and pass them along to a place in wherever they had a warehouse. And then they'd have 3PLs, third party logistics on the ground, sorting them all out and putting them where they belonged, handing them off to the post office. And they didn't even have to ship them. They just literally hand them to the post office, like, here, this one belongs here, this one belongs here. So they were literally making the post office work for free. Like, I couldn't ship something to my next door neighbor cheaper than they could. That was unsustainable. But in the meantime, like, I could grab, let me show you. I could grab a box this big full of products that was worth less than 800 bucks. And you know how I decided what to order? I decided to order just under $800 for every air delivery. So things would show up quickly. They would be less than 800 bucks. I'd get charged no import duty, no import taxes. It would go to my door. All good. My entire business model ran up to that until this year. I am, in a transitionary phase where I have to like plan further ahead, which I can now because I've got the capital to do it. But then you can't you can't do last minute things anymore. You can't be like a just in time model like they do with car production. You have to plan further ahead to offset your costs. So now I've got to look into things like FCL and LCL. FCL would be like full container load, like full shipping container. LCL would be a partial shipping container. Just take lots of people's products, put it all on a pallet, and have one pallet delivered by boat. Why do they call things that go by air shipments and things that go by boat cargo? Is that the way it goes? Yeah, things that are shipped by boat, shipments. Well, I forgot that joke. Never mind. I got a better joke. Okay, here's a good joke. I love this joke. Okay, there's a cow. This farmer has this prize cow, and I hope Dave is watching this because I learned it from Dave Christensen, my 73-year-old friend that never had a son of his own, but we hang out like in that regard, like we really hit it off. He's been jeeping with me and all this other stuff. Back to the joke. So this farmer has this prized cow, and one day the prized cow's eyes started going cross-eyed. And while they were going cross-eyed, he's like, "Man, I really want to keep this prized cow, but I don't know what to do about it. I know, I'll call a doctor. Okay, doctor, I don't know you can do anything about this." He's like, "Oh yeah, I can take care of that. I can be over today." All right, cool. Doctor shows up and he stands behind the cow, takes a big metal pipe, shoves it up the cow's ass. And then he says, "Okay, farmer, watch his eyes. Let me know when his eyes start going straight. When they're completely straight, let me know. All right, cool. Doctor starts blowing and blowing and blowing, and as he's blowing, the cow's eyes start going straight. Farmer says, "Yeah, they're straight." Cool. That'll be X amount of dollars. Okay. Farmer says, "Okay, here's your money. Thank you so much for saving my prized cow." Months go by, all is good until they start going cross-eyed again. Then the farmer's like, "Man, I'm not made of money. I don't actually have that much to spend on a doctor for this prized cow, but I think I know how to take care of this. I'm gonna go find my friend." So he goes and finds his friend, and then his friend comes back and he says, "Hey, friend, okay, I want you to stand in front of the cow. And I'm gonna take this metal pipe. I'm gonna shove it up this cow's ass. You let me know when his eyes go straight." And so friend agrees. He's looking at the eyes. Farmer starts blowing and blowing and blowing, and nothing happens. His friend says, "Well, let me try. Let's switch places." "All right," farmer says. He goes to the front of the cow. Friend goes to the back of the cow, takes the metal pipe, takes it out, flips it over, sticks it back. And the farmer's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what are you doing?" And his friend says, "Well, you didn't expect me to blow on the same end as you, did you?" Okay. I can just imagine in my head, I'm getting laughs out of some of you guys. I'm just gonna have to like assume so. If you could write like haha in the chat, that would make me feel good. But maybe give me a thumbs up. Anything anybody else wanted to talk about? Oh yeah, I gotta write down Satoshi said, "Oh yeah, we gotta add throttle controllers." Okay, I'll look for that. Throttle controllers back in stock. Uh how to SC430. Oh, you're just giving me the laugh. How to SC430. I know who you are. Are you Henry Higgins? Ariel? What? Your face looks like you're not so sure about that joke. JT, yeah, thank you for feeding my ego and letting me know that you actually thought that was funny. Uh, yes, I'm Henry. Hello. Cool. Uh, Henry's cool. I'm going to be involving him more in the business, and I hope the investor sees what I see in him. He likes to make videos. He likes to help out with customer support. And I'm gonna get him paid for that because that would be a load off my mind. So yeah, let's talk. I mean, he's literally made videos for me that I haven't seen, and I feel bad about it because I gave him free stuff because he like put really good effort into it. And so it's like, okay, I can give you a more expensive one. And then he did it again and he did it again. So now like I've built enough trust with him that I would give him the first product before it was even sold to you and say, "Hey, can you make a video for me?" So I don't have to make a video because I don't want to make a video. New video came out today too. Hey, you want to make a shout out about what your is that the name of your YouTube channel? Is it youtube.com/how to SC430? You can drop a direct link in the chat if you want. But getting past you, since I still have, okay, he says yes. Okay, so youtube.com/how to SC430. Then you can find him. Uh, anything anybody else wants to talk about? Well, I got 12 people in here. I'm not in a rush. I'm enjoying my 4-day weekend for once in my life. I can be here for another hour. I don't care. I'll drink my Mayomi Pinot Noir, which I forgot about and I want to enjoy. White trash, now drinking wine. And no, this is not expensive wine. Like, I'm a disabled veteran and I go to the JBLM base at like 15 minutes away from me. And in the like one of the most expensive states in the entire country for taxes with like sin tax. So we get charged high sales tax and we get charged enormous amounts of money on top of that on alcohol, sin tax. Um, but the offset is we have no income tax, which I much prefer because if you're poor and you lost your job, the last thing you want to do is be paying taxes on your unemployment. Like what the H? If the economy is going down and you have to cut back, you can just spend less money and save on taxes. So then, actually, in my opinion, the government has an incentive to make it so that people are making money so they get more taxes. This state's kind of gotten away from that because, like, they've literally thought about implementing income tax, but they know that's unpalatable. So they've done other things with nickel and diming, like they're putting toll lanes all over the place. Like there's this place on the 405 where it's 5 lanes and then it's 3 lanes and then it's 5 lanes again. And that 3 lane stretch, they had enough room to widen the freeway and it would be expensive, but they had no incentive to. And let me tell you, most politicians just want to push you out of your cars. They still want to drive their own car, but they want to push you out of theirs. But now they have a very good reason to build it because they're like, okay, it's something in it for them. So now they're widening the freeway. Why? There's going to be probably 3 lanes just like before, but there's going to be, instead of just being a carpool lane, okay, so that's, yeah, no, it's 3 total. Okay, there's 2 regular lanes and there's carpool lane. So there's only 2 regular lanes for single drivers. But in the carpool lane, you can't unless you're carpool. But this place has like a Hippocratic, well, not Hippocratic, but Hippocratic oath, a very big hypocrisy. They claim to care about poor people, but then they implement things like regressive taxes on the poor, where I can literally pay money to be in the toll lane, which is also supposed to be the carpool lane. And the idea of the carpool lane actually shifts in real time. If it's extremely busy, all of a sudden it has to be 3 plus passengers instead of 2, which can change when you need it the most. So, you're, let's say you're a single income family household, which is kind of rare these days, and you have a wife and child, and your wife's got a child in the back seat, which qualified as the second person, and you used to take the carpool lane because you could, because it's legitimate. Well, if it's super busy, well, now you can't. Now you have to pay $10, all the way up to $15 just to take that carpool lane and cheat. So, worse for the environment because one of the ideas was it's supposed to push people out of their cars so they carpool and it's supposed to be better. Like I'm not saying that I'm some like, environmental like nth degree kind of a person. I do like clean air. I really, really hate it when people cut their catalytic converters off. But you know, I wouldn't tell you to not tune your car, even if it caused a slight bit more pollution because it's so minor. Um, but yeah, back to regressive tax on the poor. So you- now people that can't afford to be there are stuck in traffic. If you can pay because you don't care, like me, that's my Starbucks now. Even if you didn't have very much money, follow this logic. If you absolutely hate traffic like I do, and you can be not in traffic for about 5 miles and save 5 minutes off of your time, I will pay $1 every day of the week. I used to not do it out of principle because, it's a regressive tax on the poor. But I've stopped trying to fight against the government because whether or not I do that will make F all of difference into actually changing that policy. It will not happen. So I'm literally just hurting myself. So for less than the cost of a Starbucks coffee, 5 days a week, I can pay $1 and blaze past lots of traffic. And it makes me so happy. It's not fair, but it makes me happy. Let's see. We got a lot of comments now. Let's try and okay. definitely talk. Yeah, we'll talk. Looking for installers. What if you fly them in and make sure they can install your products correctly? Yeah, I've been trying to work on that. With the investor involved, like I could actually be freed up to pitch the product out to actual installers and get it maybe in car toys or whatever, even, you know, and give them a slight discount so that they have an incentive to actually install the things too. Yeah, big pain point, especially with NavKit conversion, that it's complicated. I've been working on the NavKit conversion for like literally 4 years. Um, like I'm an electronics technician. I know how to pull cars apart. It's like super simple to me, but I have to remember like it's not simple for the average Joe. So, some products they need to be designed over and over because they need to be simpler. And there's only so much simplicity I can make with that particular product, but everybody wants it. I want it. You want it. You want Android Auto. You want Apple CarPlay. Um, and you want it to look like it belonged there in the first place. So Gen 4 is going to make all of that happen for sure. It is going to look factory. And anybody that's bought one prior to that is going to pay $100 or less to bring up to the current one. So you're not left behind. I never leave people behind. A backup camera works excellent. Thank you. I do installs in Arizona. Um, yeah, Henry Higgins. If you're anywhere around Arizona and you want to go his way, then yeah, you could definitely do that. And for a few people in Florida, I mean, there's going to be a lot more people in Florida than Washington with the SC430s that can stop by my way. And yeah, I'll shoot the SH with you, and we'll make an all-day install thing, and we'll just bang them out. That's fine. Uh, I still need to ship back the other one to you. Yeah, okay. Um, I would appreciate it if you did. I understand you're busy. Obviously, I've been busy, so I get that. Instrument cluster upgrade video. Yeah, that'd be nice. Because my video sucked. Can I replace my muffler with 2 resonators? What would you recommend? Sure, let's talk about exhaust. This is what I know about exhaust. You can literally delete the resonators and you will get a minor improvement in the noise, the pleasant noise without being nasty. You can totally go to an exhaust shop and have them chop those off. So like you've got headers and then you've got precats and then you've got um well, let's see. Yeah. Then we go past that, we've got another catalytic converter. And then when you hear things like catback, if you don't understand, that means behind that final catalytic converter where the flange is, everything from there on where it's just pipes and mufflers, which don't have to do with pollution, that's a catback exhaust system. That would be full catback. If you're just doing a muffler, then that's not full catback because you're using factory pipes and things. So a any muffler shop could cut those resonators out that look like catalytic converters, but they're not. Like where the pipe goes from this to being like this, and then there's a couple of bulges. Those are resonators. You could have those cut out, and you could get a pleasant increase in sound without being crazy. You could even go so far as leave the resonators there, delete the entire muffler, and straight pipe it. You could straight pipe it completely. There are videos out there, and it does sound pretty cool, but it will be kind of loud. But yeah, you could delete the muffler and get like to the medium high level. But here's something else that uh, is with exhaust. Okay, so the longer an exhaust tube is, think of it like an organ pipe. So the longer an organ pipe is, the deeper the note. And a chamber where a muffler is not only making the sound bang against a wall, which then has to go and bang against another wall and bang against another wall before it comes out the hole. You've expanded the pressure So you've slowed down the velocity of the air. And when you do that, then you make it quieter. But not only do you make it quieter, you make it deeper because you're making the path that it traveled longer and you slowed down the air so you get a deeper rumble. I like rumble. Like I like muscle car kind of sound. I have some enormous 295 tires in the rear. Well, at least I did. I've taken them off now because my SC430 is out of commission and it's literally going to be stripped down for parts and then sent to a junkyard. Long story on that one. But yeah, the SC430 guy does not have a running SC430. Isn't that fucking effing funny? Second F bomb. My bad. Okay, back to your original question. So you can, if you want, like I have a Magnaflow catback. It sounds absolutely incredible. It has very little drone and it has rumble, but it is very expensive. And that's a pain point that I want to make my own. That's definitely on my list. I want to make my own catback exhaust, and I want to make it in a way that it wouldn't cost a incredible amount of money to ship to you, because then that eats all my money. Um, if you're As a general rule, if you want a more throaty sound like a Mustang, then you want to go more straight pipey, and you want to make your muffler smaller. Then you want to go like I would go like if you want like medium high aggressive, then you delete your muffler, you keep the resonators. And then if you want to go louder than that, you delete your resonators later. If you want the rumble, then I would delete your resonators and I would delete your muffler and I would get the biggest chambered one I could possibly get from the muffler shop that would like you say, hey, I want it to be bassy. And any muffler shop worth their salt should know what you're talking about. So there you go. I have muffler and resonator. What you mean you deleted both? Probably. What about a universal Corsa? Like I don't it literally does not matter what the brand is. The car could not give a flying F what the brand is. If it's got the right if it's got the right amount of airflow, that's all that matters. Make sure it can handle the velocity of the air that is made for that V8. Use whatever you want. If it fits, it ships. Is it possible to add me to the live too? It would be fun to talk if you want to. That brings up a fun point. Okay, so one other thing I'm really passionate about is running my mouth, if you haven't figured that out already. I'm very opinionated on a lot of things, and I'm a very unfiltered person, and I want to be able to cuss like a sailor because that's what I want to do. I'm not hurting anybody else. I want to talk about philosophy. I want to talk about why the entire country should be on a 91 octane standard. And I'm going to be making a like Patreon kind of thing where it's going to cost you $5 a month to hear me rant about whatever. And so there's going to be different things. Like I'm so unfiltered that you could literally talk about anything. The only thing that would be off the table is if you would make me an accessory to a crime. If you want to talk about sex, if you want to talk about cars, you want to talk about drugs, I don't care. It's all fun to me. I think that's entertaining. And I won't flinch. I dare you to make me blush. So, that's something else I'm really passionate about that I think would be really fun. So that is coming down the line. It'll literally only cost you less than a Starbucks coffee for an entire month. And, you'll have access to old plus new stuff. And you know, people feed me things like Project Farm. If you've seen Project Farm on YouTube, he's like consumer reports for individual products. He's really cool. You should check him out. Um, like in the comments, you guys are going to be like, we want to talk about this. Okay, let's talk about that. And it could be a one-way conversation, or I could include you in the conversation. That's fine. I'm a go with the flow kind of a person. I'm not very like I can adapt on the fly. I just let's have a good time talking. And if I can get paid for it, all the better. Let's see. Okay, I don't see any more comments, and the number of people on this thing are starting to die down. And my voice is getting a little bit. Maybe I don't want to touch my mail. I need a drink of water. You want to know an easy way to drink water? Okay, what's that brand? Dang it. Let me look it up on the internet real quick. I forgot the brand name. Canteen water supplement. I can't find it. If you really want to know, I can jump into my house for just a split second. Give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay, so if you're like me, you know, water is not the most enjoyable thing to drink in massive quantities. If you're really thirsty, you want to drink it and it's very refreshing. It sits very heavily in your stomach. But think about this, okay? Like, why doesn't soda sit so heavy in your stomach? You don't notice that. You can suck down a gallon of it and it's like, oh, it's so good. But, if you've gotten to the point where you're so thirsty you want to drink water, that means you waited too long. So, obviously, the solution is to make water taste better. This is a very, very clean way to make water taste better. It's Redcon Canteen. It's a supplement for hydration. It has an entire it's hard for me to read with my contacts. Okay, I'll hold it way out here instead of like this close like I normally do with my glasses. Um, there's roughly, yeah, five. Is it five? Yeah, 5 grams of sugar in a scoop. Sugar's the devil for your system. You don't want sugar in your diet. If you want to lose weight, cut the sugar out. Um, but okay, so that's an entire scoop. So let me show you this. So in this 1 liter thingy, this would be an entire scoop. For an entire liter, I might put this much powder in it. So like less than a gram of sugar, and it tastes really, really good. You'll drink water all day. I promise you, if you like the flavor. Uh Iceland water. Oh, is that a brand that's like tasty? Will it drone after a muffler delete? Um, Even though I have not cut my muffler off ever, I could confidently say that no, it should not drown because drone noise has to do with low frequencies. And if you cut the thing off that's gonna leave low frequencies in your car, then you should have even less drone than factory. So, okay, Mr. Real World Scenario, how do SC430? Henry Higgins says yes, but you'll barely notice it. Okay. So it sounds like it's similar to the MagnaFlow thing. Oh yeah, one thing I hate about the MagnaFlow. Okay. It sounds really, really good, but they were so effing lazy with the way they ran the pipes. So they make a very gradual swoop and go up instead of like staying close and hugging the car. Yeah, it flows slightly better. Are you gonna notice a difference in the power in the real world? Absolutely not. Not not a chance. I don't care if you got a tuned car or not. You're not gonna notice the difference. But you know what you are gonna notice, especially if you have a lowered car? How much it scrapes. It's so annoying. So, like, the pipes are supposed to be like this, and now my pipes look like this. Like they got a it's like a semicircle, and there are parts where it's so thin that I'm surprised it hasn't worn through yet. And so I had to raise my car a mile with coilovers. But now I do it on purpose anyways because I like my 295 tires that stick out so far that they won't fit under the fender. And I refuse to use negative camber to make them look like this because I think it looks stupid. If you like it, good for you. I know why you do it. I understand the look, but it's not for me. And I love deep dish wheels. So I could have partially gotten rid of that problem by using an offset that wasn't sticking out a mile. But so think about it like if you're that's the part you're bolting through like this is your wheel. And then your wheel, the the rest of the wheel where your tire is sticks out over here. That's a deep dish wheel. So now you have this offset where you've pushed the wheel out because you've literally made the whole axle longer from end to end. So then it sticks out past the fender. And what happens to your fender on a 295 tire, like I found out, even though I thought I had it high enough, well, I take corners kind of fast. And one time I take a corner fast and I smelled it and I knew exactly what happened. I peeled that thing like a potato. I even saw somebody in a forum that destroyed their tires for the same reason. So I was like, I know where he's going with this. I know what happened. So after I saw that the first time, then I maxed out my coilovers from Meister R as high as they would possibly go and never had a problem since. And I kind of like it because it gives it a little bit of a positive rake. And it looks like a muscle car. I love it. So I have smaller tires in the front and bigger tires in the back as far as the wheels. That's actually not true. Okay, I have the same size tires, but I have 17-inch wheels in the front. I have 18s in the back, and I like to have as much meat as I can because I don't like to punish myself with low profile wheels. I don't want my car to treat me like a dentist, shaking out all my fillings. I like to be comfy. So, sidewall is your friend when it comes to comfy. So I took that to the even bigger degree in the front because I went one size smaller, so an inch smaller on the wheel in the front, but then I made the tires profile bigger so that it is even more cushy. Mine drives so comfortable. It is so comfortable. What's my daily driver? Give you a secret. It's a sleeper. And it's not the sleeper you're going to expect. It's a 2019 Kia Niro EV. It is amazing. It is the reason I decided I do not care about the supercharger, honestly, after I started driving that car. Because if you look at the specs on that thing, they are so laughable. 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. So the SC430 is supposedly faster. I guarantee you it is not from a rolling start. I will leave you in the dust. I do not care if you have forced injection. I will walk away from you like you are not even trying because it's electric. So I needed an electric car. I was going to drive my SC430 fully paid off. You know, you know how much it was going to cost me to do a 125-mile commute round trip? $35 a day in gasoline and oil and maintenance and stuff. I was like, no, that's like $650 a month. You know, not gonna happen. So then if that's the benchmark, I started running numbers and it's like, oh, what if I drove this hybrid? What if I drove an electric? Well, it turns out I can fill up a full tank of gas 220 miles with this Kia Niro EV for $5 off of my house that I wired myself. You can see it uh, there. And no, it's not the code, but it is safe and it's wired correctly that it would never catch fire. Um, so I have my panel right over here. I wired the whole panel right there myself. Ran my own wiring myself, 100 amps, and it's a hell of a lot safer than it was when I first got here. It used to be a box about yay big. It had 30 amp breakers covering like an entire room. Like, if you know anything about electrical, we're talking 12 gauge, 14 gauge, all on a single 30 amp breaker. And multiple rooms on some of them. It wasn't even, it gets better than that. It wasn't even 220, it was 110. So that was a non starter. I trenched 2 feet, which was super easy since I live in a floodplain. So it's actually even easier to dig than sand. And I stuck my pipe in there and ran it correctly. And now I have, full electrical in my garage. Let's see. Oh yeah, so that electric car, back to it for a second. Why do I call it a sleeper? It's less than $25,000. You will be faster than 90% of the cars on the road all by itself, especially on the freeway. If you enjoy passing power, you're in for a treat, man. Um, my favorite thing is why I call it a sleeper is a 2019 Kia Niro can be gas, it can be hybrid, it can be an EV, and they all look the same. If you're driving a Tesla, you're wearing a flaming red neon sign that says, I'm an electric car. Mine does not look like an electric car. Nobody knows it's an electric car unless they really know that car. So if you're in traffic, which like really in this state, people feel this special right to camp out in the fast lane. Like, I'm better than you. I know the mindset. It's like, I'm doing speed limit. I'm doing 5 over. I'm better than you. If you don't want to go, if you want to go faster, you're breaking the law. I'm better than you. No, get out of my way. I love states that have that rule where they will actually pull you over for impeding traffic, because you should. They should pull you over. Get out of the way. There's 5 lanes. But now, instead of getting mad about it, I get even without putting people's lives in danger, because I have so much instantaneous torque that all I have to do is wait for them to have 3 car lengths between the car next to me and that car in front of me. So, this guy's creeping along, and eventually there's enough for 3 car lengths, and I go boom, 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 and I'm gone. And then I go back to the speed that I want to go. I might bounce up to like 80 and then dial back to where I want to be. But, you're going to have people that will jump all the way up to 75 because they just get a stiffy about controlling you, but they have no choice. There is literally nothing they can do about it. Even most people that have their own electric car, there's nothing they can do about it because they didn't think I had an electric car. So by the time their reaction time hits, it's too late. I'm already in front of them. Too bad. So that's why I love that car. Best tire for the SC430. Personal opinion, Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus. It's comfortable. It gets extremely good traction. So it got excellent hydroplane resistance. That's my personal opinion. Ariel, you wrote 18. Can you expand on that? Like, are you making, are you saying like I should be interested in you because you're legal? I mean, where are we going with this here? I'm just kidding. Maybe you're gone. I think I've talked long enough, and by the time people see this video, they can get a preview, especially with the last comment about how unfiltered I am and how much I enjoy running my mouth, and getting paid for it, where I wouldn't get kicked off of YouTube. Because if I talk the way I want to talk on YouTube, then my video would get taken down. So I got to put it behind a paywall, and I don't have to put it behind an expensive paywall because I think a lot of people want to talk unfiltered. So I don't have to charge a bunch of money. I'm still going to do something I want to do. That's what you want to do with any business. You don't get in the mindset that I'm just going to do this because it's going to make money. You will not be successful, or you're going to hate your life if you are. Find something that you're passionate about and figure out how to make a business out of that, especially if you can figure out something that other people aren't doing. I run ISF on Michelin Sport. Cool. Yeah, you already said throttle controller on the website. When the video is over, then I'll get to my to-do list. So give me a second, Satoshi. I think this is coming to an end soon because my throat is literally getting sore. Yeah, I do. Like, if you're not a wine person, I do recommend Maomi Pinot Noir. Um, it's $10 a bottle plus taxes. It's a twist top, and this little thing in the top, if you don't know, is an aerator. So that when you pour it, it adds oxygen to the pour, because when your wine goes into the glass, it's got to breathe. You've heard people say it's got to breathe. Um, Basically, you're oxidizing the wine. So the more surface area you can put on the liquid, then the more you're gonna make the flavors come out. So like I just threw it in there. You see people swirling their cup like this, and they smell it, and they look pretentious. It's there's actually a good reason for it. Okay, the reason you do this is which this one doesn't smell like a whole lot because there's a whole lot of stale in here. But you open a fresh bottle of wine and you pour it, especially through an aerator, and swirl it, you're going to get hit with floral notes in your nose. And then when you get a big whiff of that in your nose and then take a sip, it's going to taste really good. That works with anything, not just wine. That works with food too. Uh, Say I'm not a fan of camber. Um, Let me, yeah, camber. Okay, so yeah, he said camber. This is camber negative. This is positive. Nobody does positive, but if your tires are like this and you tilt them like this, that's negative camber. So you reduce the surface area literally of the tire. I mean, you can do it. You'll burn through tires in like 10,000 miles. If that's your thing and you don't mind like having all this part of the tire perfectly good that's useless and you got to throw it in the garbage. I mean, that's your business. It's your money. I don't care. Let's stop there. We've been on for an hour and 38 minutes. Thank you for your time. See you later.